Yo, what's going on guys? CultofMush back at it with another video, and in this video, I want to talk about what is arguably the most anticipated PC game of the year, and that is Battlefield 1. Battlefield has always been a series that has really catered towards PC gamers. I remember in 2011, people were absolutely stoked for Battlefield 3 on PC. That was probably the game that really made me want to switch to PC gaming because I saw the graphics and the fact that it was 64 players, and I remember buying that game on the PlayStation 3. And it was a gigantic piece of shit, but I digress. Battlefield has always been one of the PC's more prominent franchises. However, over the last few years, I've gotten very disinterested in the series. Battlefield 4 had a pretty piss-poor launch. I was disconnecting from games left and right, performance wasn't 100% perfect. Obviously, those issues have since then been fixed, but a game is the most popular at launch, and BF4's launch was not very good. With the next game, Battlefield Hardline, that was a secondary game that was developed by Visceral Games, the guys that actually made Dead Space, and I seem to enjoy Hardline a bit more than most, but at the end of the day, that game wasn't anything special, and it was showing that the series had been getting a bit stale. Flash forward to now, and we have Battlefield 1, which has seemingly grabbed the interest of gamers once again. A big part of that is probably due to the shift in style that the game is presenting. For those of you that somehow don't know, as the title of the game would suggest, Battlefield 1 takes place during World War I. So this is a stark shift in weaponry, vehicles, and overall presentation than series past. This is actually EA's first World War I game in I think 2 decades, so they're trying something different with Battlefield 1 if nothing else, which is respectable. Whenever you change the formula to a successful franchise, you're gonna upset some people because you're changing things up, but at the same time for Battlefield, in my opinion, it's something that needs to be done if the series wants to retain any of its longevity. If instead of Battlefield 1 we got Battlefield 5 and it followed the same exact formula of Battlefield 3 and 4, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have been interested in that game at all. It would have been the same old, nothing would have been different. Sure, the graphics might have been a bit better, sure the maps might have been a bit better designed, but overall presentation would have been the same, and I think it would have been a stale game that people would have fallen out of very quickly. Maybe I'm wrong about that, and if they did stick with the general formula, people would have still stuck with the game and it would have been huge, but I don't know, I think with that style, Battlefield had run its course. The series needed a shake-up, and that's what we're getting with Battlefield 1. And if nothing else, this is gonna be a different experience than in the past. Now, I might be coming across acting like Battlefield 1 won't be retaining anything that made Battlefield successful. That's definitely not the case. As someone that's played the alpha, it's still Battlefield at the end of the day, but with a new coat of paint and mechanically a bit different. As I said, I played a bit of the alpha, not enough to form a final opinion about the game, obviously, considering the alpha just has a limited amount of content and only one map. But what I played, I thoroughly enjoyed and was somewhat invested into. Like I mentioned in my previous video, with Battlefield 4 and Battlefield Hardline, I did treat them more of tech demos for the PC and not really as games themselves, but with the Battlefield 1 alpha, I had genuine fun with the game. The destructibility was great to see. That's something I think the series had been missing for a little bit. And even though in this video I've been praising the shift in direction, World War I games haven't always been my cup of tea. But with Battlefield, it's not really going for the realistic and gritty World War experience, so this type of game caters to someone like me, who is in fact more of a casual player of shooters. If you're looking for more of a gritty game, you can check out a game called Verdun on Steam. That's a realistic World War shooter. Super hardcore. If you're a fan of the World War I timeline, you're probably gonna really enjoy that game, so check it out. Check out Verdun on Steam. Back to Battlefield 1, I'm very hopeful for the game. I think it's got potential to revitalize the series, but I do think that some of the Battlefield 1 versus Call of Duty fanboy wars are ridiculous. It's the same thing that I talked about when I spoke on the Nvidia and AMD fanboy wars. These publishers just want your money and nothing else. I also feel like this is such deja vu. I remember in 2011 when Battlefield 3 was releasing, there was a lot of talk about, oh, Battlefield 3 is gonna kill Modern Warfare 3 in sales. And I was just thinking, are you absolutely out of your mind? Call of Duty to the mass audience is just the bigger marquee franchise. That isn't debatable. You can debate on quality, but as far as metrics go, Call of Duty has always outpaced Battlefield, and I don't see that being different this time around. I think that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare will outsell Battlefield 1, but I also do see that gap closing a little bit. From the general feeling that I've gotten from the public, they do seem to think that Call of Duty has gotten really stale, and a lot of people seem to be really enthralled by Battlefield 1, but I don't think that's going to be enough for BF1 to outsell Call of Duty. But does that mean that Infinite Warfare will be the better game? Absolutely not, but if you've actually been following the gaming landscape for the last half decade, Call of Duty right now is just a bigger franchise compared to Battlefield. But that's besides the point. I really don't want this video to devolve into a Battlefield versus COD flame war, so I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you excited for Battlefield 1, or are you just not interested in Battlefield anymore, especially with all of the other shooters on the market, especially on PC? You've got Overwatch, Rising Storm, I mentioned Verdun a little while ago. There's a lot of great shooters to pick from, and Battlefield isn't the only option. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. If you have a request for a future video, you can also leave that in the comments, and I will see you guys soon. Peace out.